Holy flarking crap, guys. We are at the end of summer 2024. The end of the summer movie season of 2024 has officially come. Can you guys freaking believe that? Oh, and by the way, I want to apologize if you notice a bit of an echo to let you guys know right now. I'm currently in the state of moving with my dad and my brother into a brand new apartment. So if you guys happen to notice any echo in this video, I sincerely apologize, but don't you worry, guys. I'm working on things with the audio, so hopefully that doesn't sound too bad, but we'll just get right back into the video, shall we? So yes, guys, it is time for the last top 5 of the summer, and that is my top 5 summer movies of 2024, along with the biggest surprise of the summer, the biggest disappointment, and yes, of course, as y'all can imagine, my least favorite, the biggest pile of shit, the shit stain of the summer movie season of 2024. I actually thought that this summer was a pretty decent, in fact, a pretty good year for summer movies. Now, I will say this. There were some bad movies, sure. There were some disappointments, absolutely. But really, when I look at the grand scheme of things and the big picture of this summer, I thought there were definitely some more surprises and some really good, in fact, some great films that came out this summer. So, you know what I gotta tell you? I thought this summer was really, really good. In fact, the box office shows that I still cannot believe that summer 2024 is ending. But you know what, guys? During next month, we're getting into my favorite time of the year, fall, but most importantly, spooky season. Before I continue on with today's video, I just wanted to say welcome to my channel, everybody. For those of you who are coming by my channel for the very first time, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a future video. It's a future review, top 5, reaction, whatever I have coming your way, and join me on my journey to 10K subscribers and beyond, because believe me when I say this, guys, you are not going to want to miss the cool shit I have coming your way. And for those of you coming back to my channel, welcome back. You guys have no idea how happy I'm to see your faces once again. And also, let's start our conversation below. What were your top 5 favorite films of this summer movie season? And also name your biggest surprise this summer, your biggest disappointment, and of course, your worst film of the summer. Let's not ramble on anymore because we have a hell of a video to get to. So with that being said, guys, let's kick things off. Let's get into my top 5 summer films of 2024. And so, let's get it on.
Number 5.
Kicking things off with my top 5, at number 5 is the film that started off the summer movie season, and that is The Fall Guy. This is a movie that legitimately was the perfect film to start off this summer, and I have a bone to pick with you audiences out there. How did really no one go out there to support this movie? Because literally, this movie is one of those movies that was legitimately perfect for the summer movie season. Not only did this movie have a great cast, I mean, Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt alone should have drawn audiences really and drones to the movie theater. There's a great story, a great little romance, great comedy, great action, a terrific third act. I mean, this movie has pretty much everything that you would like to see in a summer movie blockbuster. The Fall Guy actually did not do all at the box office, so really, for those of you who did not go see the movie theater, I strongly urge you to please check out this movie. Because honest to God, guys, for those of you who are just wanting just a fun, action-filled, comedy-filled with some great romance for the summer movie season, and by the way, that's PG-13, The Fall Guy is just that movie, and I will still not get over the fact that this movie did not do well, because this movie was a great time at the movies this summer.
Number 4.
Coming in at my number 4 spot, I have Alien Romulus. While I am still kind of bummed that we didn't get to see the next film with Prometheus and the sequel to Alien Covenant, at the same time, the movie we got instead was not only filled with white-knuckle tension, with great performances, a great story, and I'll be real with you guys, is Alien Romulus Don't Breathe in Space? In some certain ways, it kind of is. I can kind of see that comparison, but really, what this movie is to me is essentially a greatest hits of the best elements of all the Alien films put into one, but with Fede Alvarez's execution, his storytelling, and his sense of horror and thrills. And what we have here is easily, to me, the best Alien film since easily Aliens. When I went to my local cinema to go see this movie, I was wanting to get that alien popcorn bucket, and unfortunately it was not available. But you know what? If I had bought that popcorn bucket, I would have easily shown that and introduced you to this movie. But anyway, Alien Romulus was not only terrifying, it was tension filled. It's a great installment to the Aliens franchise as it has a great cast, terrific visual effects, amazing cinematography. Those first two acts build up to easily one of the ballsiest third acts I have seen in a movie, especially in the Alien franchise, because man, where this movie goes in that third act, I thought was honest to God quite brilliant. Now I can understand why some people may not be in the biggest favor for that third act, but really guys, for me, Alien Romulus was such an amazing time and did the thing I want a horror film to do: scare the shit out of me, and it did just that. At my number 3 spot, I have Inside Out 2. For those of you who have known me since 2015, you will all know that not only was Inside Out one of my favorite films of that summer, but it was also my favorite film of that year. I mean, Inside Out to me is the best film that Pixar has produced. It's one of my favorite animated films, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. When I heard they're going to be making a second Inside Out film, I was very much against it, even though the concept was very, very clear of what that film was going to be, but still, nonetheless, I was just thinking there was just absolutely going to be no way that Inside Out 2 was going to come close to getting into the heights of that first Inside Out film. Inside Out 2 is such a terrific companion piece to that first film. Inside Out 2 had no right being as great as this film actually was. Inside Out 2, like the first film, was so relatable, and there were so many situations where I saw myself inside that main character many times over. Inside Out 2 could have easily have been my pick for the biggest surprise of the summer, but there is one film that I think deserves the crown, the title of that thing, just a tad bit more. But nonetheless, guys, Inside Out 2 was a wonderful film and a great sequel to that first Inside Out.
Number 2.
I'm not gonna, guys, want to say this. My number 2 was my number 1, really, for quite some time until, as you can imagine, I saw my number 1. But with that being said, guys, coming in at my number 2, I have Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Hearing that there was going to be a prequel to Fury Road, I got very, very excited, and man, Furiosa was just absolutely insane. This movie is not only a supercharged beast, it's an epic, it's an odyssey, and oh my god, this movie is such a perfect companion piece to Fury Road. It is a film that makes Fury Road an even better film, especially when you have the context that happens and Furious are going into Fury Road. George Miller came back, and how old is man again? And he can seriously still direct not only a great epic, but a kick-ass action film at the same time. Furiosa is just a summer movie that you go in with the biggest screen and the loudest speakers possible, and you just get assaulted to your senses with not only beautiful, colorful cinematography, but roaring sound design. On top of all that, you have an epic odyssey of a story of Furiosa making her way until you see the events of Fury Road. This could be my number 1, but I have one film that to me defined the summer movie season of this year. And with that being said, let's get to that number 1.
It's number 1.
Now this film should be very, very obvious, because for me, this movie was my most anticipated film of the entire summer. And man, I gotta tell you all, this movie to me defined the summer blockbuster of 2024, and that is Deadpool and Wolverine. I cannot tell you guys in how many words of how much I was anticipating this movie, how much I was being hyped up for the film, and how much I was looking forward to the film. And god dang, this movie absolutely delivered. Oh, and by the way, my score from a 4.5 out of 5 has definitely changed. It's definitely gone closer to a 5. It's not quite a 5 out of 5 quite yet, but at the same time, guys, oh my god. This movie to me is the reason why you get together with a bunch of friends or a family member or just go to the movies by yourself, get the biggest of popcorn, the biggest soda pop, a bunch of candy, and you just witness the glory of what hopefully is the return of not only the MCU, but not to mention as well just having a great time watching two complicators not only bickering at each other, but not to mention as well just seeing an awesome summer movie. This is a movie that made me appreciate of why I go into the movies, not just as a form of escape, but just as a way to forget the world for at least 2 hours. This movie's intro might just be my favorite MCU intro. God, I can't even think when was the last time I saw an MCU intro this good. Simply put, guys, Deadpool and Wolverine to me defined the summer blockbuster of this year, and not to mention as well, this movie made a crap load of money. Congrats to the Marvel team, congrats to everybody involved for making, at least in my opinion, the best movie of this summer movie season.
Surprisingly good!
When it comes down to my biggest surprise of this summer, there were a couple of films that were easy candidates to be in this pick. While Twisters could have been a very easy pick, I wanted to go with something different. This particular film, guys, was a movie that I had heard from a lot of people saying that it was not only a disappointment, that it was bad, it got really bad reviews, and it was a movie that, honest to God, I had no intentions of seeing until my dad was saying he wanted to see it, and I was like, you know what? Maybe this is my chance to go see this movie, just to even spend time with my dad. This was a movie that I walked into not having a lot of expectations for, but I gotta tell you all, Horizon Chapter 1 really surprised me. I was expecting a boring slog of a movie that was just gonna be a nonsense setup for what the next 3 chapters of this epic saga. But guys, what I got into was a movie that was not only interesting from the first frame in, a movie that had great storytelling, minus some stories that I get why they were in there, but I really don't feel like they serve the grand scheme of the next 3 chapters. Terrific performances from all the cast members, terrific action sequences, a great score, and a film that even though it is just about 3 hours long, this movie flies right by. I'm really bummed that the next chapter has been delayed for quite some time. I don't know when it's coming out, but guys, this is a movie, guys, that not only I am so glad I got to see on the big screen, but it's a movie that I think is very underrated and deserved so much love at the box office, and to me, it was the biggest surprise of this summer.
Oh shit!
When it comes down to my biggest disappointment of the summer movie season, there was, I would say, 2 other choices for what this movie could have been. I can't remember what the other choice was, but I can think of it. Oh, actually, it was The Watchers. Now I just remembered that right off the top of my head. But the other one was, not gonna lie to you guys when I say this, it was Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, a movie that I did like, but it could have been better. There was one other film that I was really, really excited for because it looked amazing from the trailers. It looked great from all the footage and the pre-hype buzz that I kept hearing about. Well, guys, this movie to me was not only the biggest disappointment of the summer, but also the most overrated film of the summer, and that movie is In a Violent Nature. Think about the picture of this movie. A movie, a slasher film told from the perspective of the killer, in a way, Friday the 13th, but told in the way of Jason. This could have been one of the coolest movies, not only this summer, but the entire year. And man, unfortunately, what I got was a movie that was so boring. It was such a slog to sit through, and it was a movie that felt like it was just constantly padded out with constant stacking walking shots. This is a movie that, man, I can tell you guys right now, I was so hyped for this movie. Like, I was really, really excited for this film, but unfortunately for me, guys, this movie not only nearly put me to sleep so many times, this could have been a classic. This could have been the next great slasher film. I can already see people calling this probably a cult classic. For me personally, it hasn't come close to that. And Violent Nature really could have been the next great slasher, because with a concept like that, this should have been great. I feel like I was watching a proof of concept or a short film that was elongated and so stretched out that for 90 minutes, like I mentioned to you guys earlier, I felt like I was about to nod to go to bed or not to fall asleep at least a few times. And man, once it came to that ending, for me, my biggest disappointment of this summer is in of Violent Nature. I seriously really want this film to be good. Oh boy. Well, guys, here we are, coming down to a moment I know you have all been waiting for. It is time for the shit stain for me of this summer of 2024. While the summer had some great movies, legitimately had some great movies, there were also some really bad movies. I mean, there were some really terrible films. Some of them, no joke, which are probably my top 10 worst films there. For me, my biggest shit stain of this summer, I saw it recently, so you guys should know what this is. My worst film of this summer of 2024 is The Crow 2024. A film, a reboot, a reimagine, remake, whatever they want to call it. A film that should have never been made. A film that should have never happened. I want to save a lot for what I'm about to say for talking about the worst of the year because, guys, I can already bet that this movie is going to be at the very minimum in my top 5 worst films of this year. For a movie that was in development hell since like what, 2008, there was right there your biggest red flag that this movie was going to be a failure. But as I have mentioned to you guys plenty of times beforehand, this movie could have surprised me, and I was hoping that it would because the director of this movie made Snow White and the Huntsman, a movie that I find to be not only very underrated, but a pretty badass retelling of the Snow White story. The Crow 2024 is a movie that not only feels like such a waste of time, like such a waste of money, especially a waste of time for all the talent involved, especially a talent like Bill Skarsgård, like FKA Twigs, everybody involved with this movie. What I saw in this movie was nothing more than a lifeless, soulless film that should have stayed buried under the ground. I could easily ramble on about The Crow 2024 for really quite some time, but for the sake of your time and my time for our time, I'm just gonna end it by just saying this. The Crow 2024 is without a doubt, for me, the biggest pile of crap, the biggest pile of shit that I saw of this summer. Now, I can guarantee that a lot of you may have other movies as your pick, but for me personally, no other film felt like it was a bigger waste of time and money to me than The Crow 2024. And that, guys, is gonna wrap it up for my top 5 summer movies of 2024, along with my biggest surprise, my biggest disappointment, and my shit stain of this summer. And it's gonna also wrap it up for this summer movie season. I cannot believe it is over, and I cannot believe it is already time for the fall movie season. I cannot wait to see what the fall has in store. But with all that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed my top 5 summer movies of 2024. If so, push the like button, or if you dislike the top 5, hit the dislike button. If you guys want to see my previous 2 videos, please click right there or right there. And of course, until my next review or video goes live, I will see you all next time.